All right, hi everyone. I'm Andrew, aka Argument Demolishing Mindgasms for the purposes of this video. And yeah, I don't need my glasses on for this, because I'm not doing any reading. Anyway, I'm going to, of course, talk about Squeaky Ben Shapiro and his take on Disney Plus and his claim that it teaches kids the woke Biden conspiracies, evil CRT agenda. So I'm going to basically demolish his really stupid argument. And of course, Ben Shapiro is supposed to be this, genius intellectual logic bro. And of course, he is not anywhere near as smart as many people claim he is. So anyway, let's get into it here.
There's a clip that was going around over the weekend that was...
Did I have that on 2x speed? No. Okay. He's just a fast talker.
Was shocking to those who have never really watched Disney Plus or looked at much of the content that is being promoted on Disney Plus. There's a reason that we here at Daily Wire are dedicating $100 million over the next couple of years to produce children's content. It's coming out in very short order, apparently not fast enough.
Ignore their propaganda. You need our conservative propaganda from Daily Wire, okay?
DW Kids is going to be a thing specifically because we wish to provide your kids a space where they can believe in traditional values and just learn about the world. But what the left wants to do is prey on your kids and
the left wants to prey on your kids, bro. We just want traditional values and we want you to learn about their world. We're just harmless, bro.
Shove into their brains terrible ideas about the country, about morality, about religion, about all the institutions.
They want to delve or deliver terrible ideas into the brains of children about the country and everything in history. Let's be really vague, too.
The intermediate institutions that make life both secure and worth living. And so one of the shows that was doing this on Disney Plus is, of course, The Proud Family. Here is a clip from The Proud Family that was making the rounds over the weekend. It is just false history and nonsense, rage against America being taught to your small kids.
This country was built on slavery, which means slaves built this country. Tilled this land from...
Okay, so keep in mind when watching this that he is showing a single example of a single TV show for kids on Disney Plus, and taking this enormous logical leap from that to saying that what he is about to show happening once on one episode of one TV show for kids on Disney Plus means that Disney Plus in general, the entirety of Disney Plus, is all woke and trying to indoctrinate your kids into wokeness.
Seed to seed. First it was rice, tobacco, sugar cane. Then Whitney did his thing and cotton became king. And we were its soldiers, 4 million strong, fighting for America's freedoms, even though we remained...
Okay, to be fair though, this is super fucking lame in my opinion, but it's a kid's show. What do you expect?
America's slaves built this country. The descendants of slaves continue to build it. Slaves built this country. And we, the descendants of slaves in America, have earned reparations for their suffering. And continue to earn reparations every moment we spend submerged in the systemic prejudice, racism, and white supremacy that America was founded with and still has not...
Yeah, this is pretty, like, pro-progressive values and all that kind of stuff. But, again, it's one episode of one TV show for kids on Disney Plus. So that doesn't constitute good evidence.
Slaves built this country. Not only field hands, but carpenters, masons, blacksmiths, musicians, inventors built cities from Jamestown to New Orleans to Banneker, Washington. 40 acres and a mule. We'll take the 40 acres, keep the mule. We made your families rich. From the southern plantation heirs to the northern bankers to the New England ship owners, the founding fathers,
Okay, so basically, slavery bad, and all of these other things associated with slavery bad. This is true, but they're obviously just beating your head over with this message. So that's cringy, definitely. But again, it's one episode of one TV show for kids on Disney Plus. Doesn't mean Disney Plus in general or all of Disney Plus is indoctrinating your children into wokeness.
It's indoctrinating your children into wokeness.
President current senators,
the Illuminati, the New World Order.
slaves built this country. We had
Illuminati.
Turner,
Frederick D.
Then they say Lincoln freed the slaves.
But slaves were
What
men.
is the Illuminati shit? Now this part shit is getting conspiratorial, but what if fuck it says TikTok right here? Is this a Disney Plus video or is it a TikTok video?
And women, and only we can
This
free
is from a
ourselves.
Ben Shapiro YouTube video, so it's not like not watching this on TikTok.
Emancipation is not freedom. Jim Crow, segregation, redlining, public schools feeding private prisons, where we become slaves again. As we celebrate Juneteenth for the umpteenth time.
I mean, this is really fucking boring and lame again, but still, like, it's a kid show. How many kid shows are really boring and lame to adults? Probably, like, almost all of them.
Our account is still outstanding. Because this country was built on slavery, which means slaves built this country. And we demand our 40 acres and a mule. Bump that! You can keep the mule.
Keep the 40.
We're taking our freedom.
Eh?
Okay, so that's what they're promoting on Disney Plus. That's what they're promoting. That is a false history of the United States. This is basically
Like, okay, they're definitely huge generalizations there, but the basic message is not really. There's not really that much wrong with that. I mean, like saying, you know, pro reparations and stuff is, and other. There are definitely other examples in that are obviously very blatant progressive political messages, but I didn't really see any false history in there other than, you know, exaggerations.
just 1619 Project garbage. It is bled down. This is always how it works, is that
Yeah, to be fair though, if they are talking about the 1619 Project garbage, that is false history to a degree. I've read that book too, and it's really stupid. But again, this is where he's going to do what every fucking conservative pundit does now, and it seems like they get this verbatim from James Lindsay all the time, which is why I always criticize James Lindsay about this shit. They confuse anti-racism with critical race theory or CRT, and you know, anti-racism is the real villain in all this. It's the cringy woke garbage nonsense Robin DiAngelo, Ta-Nehisi Coates, Ibram X. Kennedy, White Fragility, How to Be an Anti-Racist, Between the World and Me. Those are their three major books between the three of them, I think. All that shit is fucking stupid. But those people all disagree with each other, and all of these people disagree with each other about critical race theory, and many critical race theorists disagree with most critical race theorists disagree with most anti-racists, and some anti-racists like Ibram X. Kennedy, for example, has not even read anything about by critical race theorists, and many critical race theorists are very critical of some of the major claims of some of these anti-racists like Ibram X. Kennedy and Ta-Nehisi Coates and Robin DiAngelo. So keep that in mind with all of these strawmans that he's about to say about critical race theory.
all this garbage starts at the highest level of critical race theory in our universities, and it bleeds down to the people who write your shows.
There's no like fucking giant conspiracy of critical race theory in universities. Maybe anti-racism, but even that is massively exaggerated, as the few of you who have seen my other videos know, in terms of this bullshit that they get from James Lindsay, that critical universities are overrun with critical race theory. At the closest possibility to their claim is that, there's some anti-racist bullshit, but it's not like taking over the universities, and they're just basically exaggerating how bad it is. I think like that should definitely fucking exist. Those woke indoctrination classes. I've been in one at the university in my town here, but it's the minority of classes there, and it's still the minority of classes in most universities too. And there are woke professors, but you can avoid the woke professors and the woke students if you want to, or you can do what I did and jump into the belly of the beast and see what it's all about, and perhaps do as I did and discover that it's just as dumb and misunderstands Foucault and all of the intellectuals that are supposedly behind critical race theory and anti-racism, just as I expected.
And then it's your kids who are now learning this in their schools in a dumbed down version of the 1619 Project or on the Proud Family on Disney Channel.
Okay, see, the 1619 Project is not I guarantee that the 1619 Project is not endorsed by every single critical race theory. It's like, don't quote me on this, but it's virtually a guarantee that critical racers disagree with each other about the 1619 Project, and probably some of them supported it and probably some of them don't. If I had to guess, and again, this is just a guess, I would guess that probably most of them would not support that because it is ahistorical in some ways. But, you know, this may be surprising to people who follow fucking Ben Shapiro too. Critical race theorists disagree about ideas like affirmative action and reparations, just like any other sort of realm of political or philosophical thought. Like, Jesus.
First of all, the belief system that America was built on the back of slavery as opposed to all other cultures ever, that every institution of the United States is
okay, like who in that like, again, admittedly cringy clip that he showed, who said that no other country other than the US was built on the backs of slavery? I mean, obviously that's an exaggeration too, but you know, slavery had a lot to do with the you know, what word should I use? Like with the success of early America, but you know, like the same is true of many other countries. I'm sure a lot of those, even those fucking woke people, would probably agree with that too. I mean, they're not that, they are stupid about some shit, but they're not that stupid.
Infused with slavery. It's a lie. The belief that it's Southern wealth that generated American prosperity is also a lie. The South was an economic backwater compared to the North. Slavery is actually very bad for the economy, as it turns out, which is what the South found out during the Civil War, and the North kicked the hell out of them. The belief system.
Okay, again, he's just massively oversimplifying history just as much as the people he is criticizing there. So it's not like he's pretending that slavery was not profitable. It was fucking massively profitable until the last part that he said that is true, which I don't know whether he did this deliberately or not, or he's just obviously way more stupid than he and other people think he is. Yeah, with the invention of the cotton genie, I think it is, it made it much more economically efficient to use that rather than to use human beings to pick cotton. So yeah, there was an economic incentive to end slavery, but before that, slave owners made a hell of a lot of fucking money, and it was only rich white slave owners, so it was a very small segment of the population, which is why, and a small amount of people of you have seen my videos about Derek Bell, the critical race theorist book called Silent Covenants. He talks in that video, which the fact that I learned from another book called White Trash, which was about how poor during slavery or during the antebellum South, there was the rich white slave owners saw poor white people as inferior to slaves. So the rich white slave owners saw poor white people as even worse than black slaves that they owned and treated fucking atrociously, obviously. And Derek Bell talks about how that, you know, basically not only was slavery bad for all the black slaves, it was also actually bad for most white people because they received none of the benefits from slavery that all of those rich people received, because they kept all the benefits to themselves, right? So most white people didn't benefit from slavery either, but it's not economically efficient for society at large, but it's very efficient for getting people rich from, you know, producing a lot of cotton and selling a lot of it. So, he's massively oversimplifying history, as he always does, and looking at only one side of the argument, as he always does.
That people today are owed reparations for sins committed against their great-great-great-great-great-grandparents, and that every ill in American society today is attributable to slavery is an absurdity. And yet this is the crap that they are now mainlining into your kids' heads through TV, and making your kids hate the country. I mean, I don't know how you emerge from that without your kid thinking our country is evil. That, of course, is the entire point of that little woke retelling.
Okay, like maybe you could argue that, but it more seemed to me like slavery's really fucking bad, and we should feel bad about it. Like, there didn't seem to be anything there about hating America necessarily. Like, maybe some people, if you ask them about that, they probably would say that they hate America, but maybe some of them are just critical of it. Like, he doesn't know. He's just totally inventing what these people think. He's mind reading.
Of American history, straight from Nicole Hannah-Jones and Howard Zinn. The idea is America is bad. The founding fathers, they were all evil slaveholders. Lincoln didn't free the slaves. Lincoln actually wasn't responsible.
Okay, who the fuck said that in there? Oh wait, maybe I did. Maybe they did say that. They did say something about Lincoln. I might have missed it, but that's fucking stupid if they said that. But wait, I lost my train of thought there. The other thing he said there was not
we
true.
freed ourselves. That might come as
white people
in American society.
It is true that white people freed the slaves, but black people freed the slaves too, because well, I don't know. It's complicated. Like, there were abolitionists and anti-abolitionists, both of whom were religious, some of whom, but like, because most people were religious back then, like, Ben Shapiro oversimplifies this biblical justification for anti-abolition and acts like that's the only side of the argument too. But anyway, that's kind of beside the point. I was going to go back to his other point here.
Is attributable to slavery is an absurdity. And yet this is the crap that they are now mainlining into your kids' heads through TV.
I went too far.
And making your kids hate the country. I mean, I don't know how you emerge from that without your kid thinking our country
told
is
you
evil.
how.
That, of course, is the entire point of that little woke retelling of American history, straight from Nicole Hannah-Jones and Howard Zinn. The idea is America is bad. The founding fathers, they were all evil slaveholders. Lincoln didn't free the slaves.
Yeah. Well, they weren't necessarily evil. Like, you'd also be mind reading if you said that they were evil, because you'd have to know their intentions and how their mind worked. But weren't they all, or at least most of them, slave owners too? I'm pretty sure that at least most of them were slave owners. I mean, I'm not an expert on the founding fathers of America, but I'm pretty fucking sure that a lot of them at least were slave owners. So, I mean, by today's standards, that would make you evil, but it was normal back then. But is it still evil back then? I think arguably yes, but it depends on how you define morality. Obviously, Ben Shapiro doesn't seem to think it was a big deal back then, or at least that's the impression I'm getting. You could arguably say, how could you not get that impression? Which, again, would be as equally stupid as what he said. So I'm not saying that.
Slaves. Lincoln actually wasn't responsible. We freed ourselves. That might come as a surprise to the 500,000 people who died in the Civil War. But again, this basic idea, which is that America is super bad, it's being mainlined. You know who actually is the executive producer for this show, by the way. The person who is involved in the making of this show is a person named LaToya Raveneau. You'll remember LaToya Raveneau. She's the executive producer for Disney Television Animation. And she was caught on tape just a few months ago saying, quote, "In my little pocket of proud family Disney TVA, the showrunners were super welcoming to my not at all secret gay agenda." Maybe it was that way in the past, but I guess something must have happened.
Did she literally say not at all secret gay agenda? That's just so stupid. But that's so stupid. But seriously, like, he's still harping over and over and over again on this one single example.
All the momentum that I felt, that sense of, I don't have to be afraid to have these two characters kiss in the background. I was just wherever I could adding queerness. No one would stop me. No one was trying to stop me. It's all part of a broader rubric, a broader agenda to indoctrinate your kids. This is all.
Oh, that's what he's saying. Of course, he gives the most extreme interpretation possible.
Yeah, pretending that these are sort of individual incidents that are sort of cropping up here and there. It's not right. It's part of a broader, a broader intellectual framework that says the American institutions are bad. Churches are bad.
Okay, so again, keep in mind that he is not giving any evidence at all for this broader linked idea, is supposedly intellectually sophisticated ideology, or, the woke people who think they're intellectually sophisticated. And he's doing just what fucking James Lindsay and so many other conservative pundits do, although James Lindsay isn't necessarily conservative, but this is where the conservative pundits get their idea about it, that they're so stupid that they really believe that the woke people have this really sophisticated intellectual foundation behind their philosophy, but they're giving them too much fucking credit, man. Like I said, I've been in those classes. It's a whole bunch of loosely tied tied together misinterpretations of, philosophers and political theories, some of which use good points, but then some of which totally misinterpret what the authors said, like Foucault or even Marx, and totally giving the most obvious woke interpretation for stuff. But again, like I was saying before, that's not even the majority of classes in universities too. And I'm not just using my own anecdote for this. If you look at the actual makeup of classes and teachers in the average university, like in most places, it's not as if the majority of classes or teachers are woke. So just fucking exhausting.
Bad. Family is bad. Worship thyself. That's the only thing.
Okay, so again, he's totally inventing these fictional values that woke people supposedly have. No one said that in what we saw there.
Or worship, and maybe some tribal politics that allow you to gain power as an individual. That's really what everything here is.
It's really a nefarious, broader woke agenda.
Why am I sounding like Ben Shapiro / Alec Jones here?
There's really a broader woke agenda, okay?
It's all about. In just one second, we'll get to the broader attempt by our culture to indoctrinate your kids into particular ideological cults. We'll get to that in just one moment. First, in a rough few years, I need the best mattress on planet Earth. This is why I've been using a Helix offer yet. Hurry on over to helixsleep.com right now so that you can actually give your kids material that doesn't make them hate their country or hate their family or hate their religion.
Oh, okay, again, yes.
Listen, okay, don't believe the woke indoctrination. Believe my Daily Wire conservative indoctrination, okay? I mean, instead, okay? It's way better than woke indoctrination. It's good, and the conservative indoctrination is good, and the woke indoctrination is bad, okay?
All of the rest. But it's also happening, obviously, in our institutions of higher learning. It's part of a broader campaign to dissolve the societal glue that binds us together. One of the lead figures in that is, of course, Nikole Hannah-Jones.
Okay, again, she's acting as if Nikole Hannah-Jones controls all woke people, and all woke people, like all of these whiny woke college students and all of these woke professors who think they're sophisticated, have actually read and understand Nikole Hannah-Jones, and they also have actually read critical race theorists like Derek Bell, and they understand the similarities and differences between them, and they've read figures like Foucault and figures like Derrida, and they understand similarities and differences between them. Chances of that are very, very, very extremely fucking small. So again, you're overestimating your enemy. Actually, you're not even underestimating your enemy. You're massively overestimating your enemy.
The wildly over-celebrated pseudo-intellectual who put together the 1619 Project, a pack of lies.
If that's not like projection right there, massively overrated pseudo-intellectual, that's exactly what Ben Shapiro is.
Predicated on the idea that every institution in American society is essentially racist and white supremacist. Over the weekend, she was campaigning again.
Yes, Nikole Hannah-Jones, the 1619 Project author, is an anti-racist like Robin DiAngelo and Ta-Nehisi Coates and Ibram X. Kennedy. But again, those anti-racists are definitely not the same thing as critical race theorists. Most critical race theorists disagree with most anti-racists, and anti-racists disagree with each other, and critical race theorists disagree with each other too. And it's certainly not the case that anti-racists like Nikole Hannah-Jones basically control universities in general in the US. That is not true.
Again, for the 1619 Project, because Hulu has gotten its institutional power behind this thing. Again, remember, all the arbiters of culture are on the side of the people who like satanic celebrations at the Grammys. I mean,
okay, Nick, now this is fucking satanic celebrations. So the woke people, this is like the more of the fucking satanic panic, like how and it's this fucking cringy conservative reactionary shit, like how he embarrassed himself with Cardi B's wet ass P word. Listen, if your vagina is that wet, there's something seriously wrong with your vagina, okay? My wife is a doctor and they never get her vagina wet. I seriously cannot please my wife. Sorry, that was mean. Maybe he does. I bet he does all the time. Maybe he's really good in bed. You know, he's a nerd. He could study up. Who knows? Anyway, that made me totally lose my fuck. Oh, right. He was talking about the fucking Satanist shit. So yeah, there was that panic with fuck. You know, that gay rap star who was in that Old Town Road. Oh, Lil Nas X. Yeah. He had that video where he, you know, there was a dude dressed up as Satan and he was like twerking on him and shit. And people like Ben Shapiro got mad about that shit too. And then there was recently in the Grammys, there was this satanic performance with forget who the fucking, what the name of that guy even is. The guy, is it Sam? I don't remember the guy. Is that guy who has that song Unholy? So because the song's unholy, you know, there was someone dressed up like the devil. Oh no! You know, there's this thing called performance and acting. No one was actually literally fucking worshiping the devil. There weren't like fucking woke devil worshippers there. You fucking idiot. Like, he's fucking stupid if he seriously believes people at the Grammys literally actually worship the devil. Like, holy shit.
That's what's happening right here. So here, Hulu's, they've dedicated presumably tens of millions of dollars to making a lie-filled project like the 1619 Project, promoted by a huckster like Nicole Hannah-Jones. Here she was promoting this thing on another huckster network, MSNBC.
This is your country. This is your native land.
Okay, so see how he went from this woke Disney this woke excerpt from a Disney episode to Nicole Hannah-Jones talking about her ideology as if that actually has anything to do with this, with specifically in terms of his specific claim that Nicole Hannah-Jones has this also CRT and woke gay agenda that governs what happens at Disney. Therefore, because Nicole Hannah-Jones, who is an anti-racist, who Ben Shapiro is saying is a critical race theorist, but has these particular beliefs, and because one of the makers of this show has some similar beliefs as Nicole Hannah-Jones, therefore that means that, you know, the entire upper management of Disney, and maybe even most of the creators there, are woke and follow this this quote unquote CRT agenda of Nicole Hannah-Jones, even though she's not a CRT person, she's not a critical race theorist, she's an anti-racist, and so Disney is run by this CRT and gay agenda because that woman who's the creator of that show with two gay dudes kissing has a gay agenda. So Disney is therefore run by a gay and CRT agenda. Like, holy shit, man. That is just terrible fucking logic there. You take these series of massive logical jumps and connect something barely associated with it to be running the entire agenda behind this entire massive corporation. Yeah, bro.
Built this country, your ancestors built this country, and in some ways it is a very patriotic book, just like the 1619 Project is unintentionally patriotic.
What?
Unintentionally patriotic. By unintentionally patriotic, what she means is
that I agree. That claim is fucking stupid if she's seriously saying that about the 1619 Project. But again, I don't support the 1619 Project either. He's just very fucking confused about Nicole Hannah-Jones and the 1619 Project and the degree to which Nicole Hannah-Jones and this other woman behind this Disney TV show have power over the entire agenda of the entire Disney corporation.
Her entire project is America sucks. But the good things about America we're responsible for, and by we, she means like progressive leftists on racial matters. She also suggested that to oppose critical race theory, which again is the theory that she essentially purveys in dumbed down fashion.
Again, she's not promoting critical race theory. Nicole Hannah-Jones is promoting anti-racism. I know they sound similar, but there are subtle yet important differences, especially when we're talking about some of the disagreements. Like, I forget what. Oh yeah, again, with Ibram X. Kendi, for example. Again, I'm not a fan of him either, but he's at least a little better than some of the others in that he does not believe that black people are incapable of racism. He disagrees with Nicole Hannah-Jones and Ta-Nehisi Coates and Robin DiAngelo about that. And there are more critical race theorists who agree with that too, that black people actually can be racist than there are anti-racists who believe that. Far more critical race theorists believe that than anti-racists. And like I said, Ibram X. Kendi is one of them, even though I'm not a fan of his. Certainly not a fan of his either. But like I said, some critical race theorists like Derek Bell sometimes make good points. And even he has good and bad books, in my opinion. Anyway, I don't need to go way down that rabbit hole.
That is a propaganda campaign because true American history is a story of suffering and evil.
You weren't doing any such thing.
That's true, though. Most history is a story of suffering and evil, but you know, there's good and bad. You can't just take out the good. I mean, just take out the bad either and teach this rose-colored glasses perspective on it either, which is what some people like Ben Shapiro advocate. And you know, I don't think Ben Shapiro necessarily advocates for what I'm about to say, but some people also even are talking about not even teaching slavery. And then we get into this, you know, Ben Shapiro made another video previously supporting people, politician like Ron DeSantis's legislation that he passed that was banning any books that have anything about transgenderism in them for kids to read, even if it's totally innocent, just like, you know, talking about how a man and woman can fall in love for kids, so it's totally just fucking G-rated. That like kids can't even read shit like that. And you know, banning books is fucking authoritarian Nazi shit, man. And I'm certainly not saying that fucking Ben Shapiro or Ron DeSantis are fucking Nazis. I'm not some fucking cringy woke leftist. I definitely don't think they are. But that's just as fucking authoritarian as what the fucking Nazis did. And Stalin and Mao and all of these fucking Stalinists and communists that you criticize a hell of a fucking lot too. Like, it's fucking bullshit, man.
You were saying, let's look at American history in a broader context.
Absolutely. So, I mean, we should just call the anti-critical race theory campaign what it is. It's a propaganda campaign, right? It was stoking division for political gain.
See, I disagree with her too. Like I was kind of saying earlier, I disagree with both of these people, man. They're polar opposites. Ben Shapiro says fucking unfounded bullshit most of the time, and Nicole Hannah-Jones says unfounded bullshit most of the time. She's like talking about this fucking false conspiracy theory just as much as Ben Shapiro is talking about this fucking false Alex Jones style conspiracy theory about how woke leftists are fucking Satanists.
Because obviously, both critical race theory, the actual critical race theory, and the 1619 Project are not talking about individuals. We are talking about systems.
Oh, yeah, maybe she is. Maybe I'm confused, and she is actually a critical race theorist, to be fair. But I thought she was an anti-racist. But if she is a critical race theorist, then that's fine. She is one of the way more fucking woke critical race theorists. Like I said, there is a difference. Like in comparison to some of Derek Bell's work, but not all of it, she is way more fucking woke than him and some other critical race theorists too. Because most of what critical race theorists do is legal theory, trying to change laws and stuff like that. And most of this is like civil rights law, like civil rights lawyers do this type of shit, right? So, you know, most of this stuff is nowhere near as nefarious as the way people like Ben Shapiro paint it.
And yes, that's the whole point. By the way, stoking hatred for political gain is the name of her autobiography, Nicole Hannah-Jones. What a joke she is. Peter Wood of the National Association of Scholars.
Yeah, she's a bullshit.
He was on Fox News debunking the 1619 Project over the weekend.
Overall, your thought of the book and the Oprah-sponsored series?
Well, the book is a shameless...
There's really an Oprah-sponsored series? Man, that sounds fucking cringy.
Compilation of misstatements, misrepresentations of the American past. Like any other historian, I'm in favor of teaching African-American history, but I would like to see it taught accurately and well.
Oh, that's a fair point. But remember that, I don't remember whether it was Ron DeSantis recently too, or some other politician who wanted to either, I don't remember whether they tried or succeeded in banning African-American history, which is kind of fucking stupid. I mean, I don't even see a problem with them having the fucking cringy, woke, like, anti-racism classes or something like that. Just if you don't like the class, don't take it. Like, plenty of teachers, well, not, I don't know about plenty of teachers, but some teachers spread some wacko shit. Like, if you're a smart person, you won't be indoctrinated into that bullshit. And as long as they're not doing some dangerous shit, like, I don't know, maybe you shouldn't be allowed to teach kids that Nazism is good or something like that, but maybe you should be able to explain ideas to people even if you don't endorse them yourself. I think that's probably a good idea, right? And you know, just like take other courses that are way more fucking useful too. You don't have to just fucking take stupid courses, and you don't have to take courses like that at all if you don't want to, like I said, right? But anyway.
Yeah, all of this bleeds down into actual policy as well. We are swimming in an ocean of left-wing
And
ideology.
in the opposite way that he is claiming, like I was saying before, a lot of right-wing authoritarians like him are approving things like banning books, which politicians like Ron DeSantis are doing in Florida, and it's happening in other places as well.
That promotes the dissolution of all the ties that bind us together, obviously. And what that means that even basic standards of societal decency have been undermined. So one of the big projects, for example, of the Biden administration, this is in the very early days of the Biden administration.
There's no societal decency.
And see how he's now connecting this like woke Disney show, or at least supposedly woke Disney show. Definitely that clip was woke to me, but it doesn't necessarily mean the whole show is woke. But even if we grant, for the sake of argument, that that show is woke, he then said that Nicole Hannah-Jones controls the agenda, even though the creator herself was talking about a so-called gay agenda, which doesn't necessarily have anything at all to do with race or critical race theory. And Nicole Hannah-Jones, in that clip that he himself showed, said absolutely nothing whatsoever about homosexuality or gay people in gay relationships or the Disney show that he was talking about, or Disney at all. So two totally related examples, which he connects to a third totally unrelated example, so that he has multiple yet totally unrelated examples in order to paint this picture that there's this massive societal problem with woke indoctrination propaganda taking over all aspects of society, legislation in politics and entertainment in Disney, and also intellectuals in universities. So it's in our entertainment, it's in our universities, and it's in our politicians. And the Biden administration is so fucking woke, man. Biden is so woke, it's so unbelievable. He really cares about critical race theory and all that shit. He totally knows what he's talking about. He's not some old racist white man just like Trump. No, not at all.
Administration, as in June of 2021, the Biden administration announced that they would like to redo how school discipline is done, to take an example. Why? Well, it turns out that a disproportionate number of kids who are subjected to school discipline, like being suspended or expelled, are Black. The reason for that is because, unfortunately, a disproportionate number of kids who are misbehaving in class in ways that require them to be removed from the classroom are Black. But the Department of Education was not willing to say that. They didn't even establish any sort of data baseline. Instead, the idea was that if there's any disparity...
Of course, he has to talk about racial differences between kids, as he always does, and he always connects that to wokeness, no matter what he's talking about.
Between white suspension rates and Black suspension rates, well, then it must be systemic racism in the mold of Nicole Hannah-Jones or Ibram X. Kendi. Anytime there is a discrepancy, anytime there's a disparity, that means...
Wait, who said that? I'm not sure. I'm not clear on who he is saying said that. I didn't hear anyone say that so far. No one. Is he about to say that someone in the Biden administration was saying that?
There has been some sort of systemic discrimination. So all the way back in June of 2021, the agency announced that it planned to seek public comment on discipline in school.
Once about 2 years ago. Okay, so the Biden administration is woke because he has one example 2 years ago of something to do with not punishing black kids in school because supposedly, according to him, he didn't show any data or evidence to support this claim. More black kids get in trouble in school than white kids, but they don't want to discipline more black kids than white kids because that would be seen as systemic racism. So this is a massive claim for which he has shown no evidence, keep in mind.
Climate, quote, how best to support and build schools.
Oh wait, no, I shouldn't say he has shown no evidence. Like, let's be clear. He connected this to something totally unrelated, which is one single example of the Biden administration from 2 years ago. And you know he really wants to cherry pick as much as fucking possible. So that's probably the most recent example he could find, which was 2 years ago, which shows you how not rampant this supposed problem is.
Capacity to promote positive, inclusive, safe, and supportive school climates in a non-discriminatory manner. Again, the idea being that the only way to end discrimination.
Okay, so I don't see how saying discrimination bad is a problem.
Discrimination in schools is to make sure that kids don't get expelled or suspended anymore. And what this has led to is an artificial attempt to close racial gaps in suspensions and reduce the use of suspensions in general over the course of the last couple of years. The result has been, in many cases, that you have kids.
Oh, okay. So he's talking about this general trend, which he has not shown any evidence for because he's shown 3 totally unrelated examples over a long period of time. And then in terms of the claim he just made there, he gave no evidence whatsoever for this massive claim. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and he gave none whatsoever.
Who are acting horribly in class and who are ruining the educational experience for pretty much everybody else.
Okay, maybe we could agree for the sake of argument, because I haven't researched this at all, so I don't know. Maybe it's possible that every single student, every single white kid and every single black kid, or maybe it's only every single white kid and only every single black kid and some of the white kids literally did deserve whatever punishment they were supposed to get. But do you really think 100% of these people, or let alone 100% of the black kids, but only some of the white kids? To be fair, I really don't think he would say that 0 of the white kids should have been punished. I would think he would probably agree that some of the white kids should be punished too. But like, does he really think that 100% of the black kids deserve that punishment? I think that, it fucking depends on the teacher and it depends on the kids. Some kids deserve some discipline in school and they behave badly and they deserve some discipline for sure. And some kids don't, and the teachers are just overzealous or they're bad teachers or something. You can't absolutely know the mitigating factors of every single example of this shit, right?
And even critics of the current disparities will acknowledge that there is no data, like they've not even bothered to gather data on whether the discrepancy is due.
He's not given any data either, keep in mind.
To a difference in behavior. Brookings Institute had a piece over the weekend talking about it. It said, despite positive changes, racial disproportionality in school discipline persists. Why is it so hard to close such gaps? What are we missing? A close look at research articles and policy debates on this topic suggests researchers and policymakers have been almost exclusively focusing on the end result of discipline, suspensions.
Something suggests this doesn't sound like very good data, dude.
But there's been no attention given to referral and reporting processes. But here's the thing. They say the data don't even include, like they don't bother to include, how the kids are actually behaving before they are suspended.
What? You're assuming that they're all misbehaving, yet you yourself said that they're assuming how the kids behave before they're suspended. So you don't even know how they were behaving, yet you're assuming that they were all behaving badly and deserve to be disciplined. Where the hell is this completely evidence-free claim coming from, dude? You're supposed to be like logic, bro.
Quote, it is challenging to tease out the mechanism because researchers almost never observe the underlying student behavior of an infraction. Well, then how can you tell whether it's disparity or discrimination?
Yeah, ask yourself that too, dude.
The reason this has real world consequences, of course, is because this now bleeds over into media coverage of situations in which school discipline is absolutely necessary. So there was a video that was going around over the weekend, and it is a shocking video that was going around over the weekend. And it showed 2 kids who are black here.
Keep in mind, he's about to go to a 4th, yet completely still unrelated example, 4 completely unrelated examples over a very long period of time with people from different realms of thought making slightly similar but also different claims about different subjects. Jeez.
They're boys, and they're beating the living hell. I mean, really beating the living hell, apparently out of a brother and a sister in Homestead, Florida. Here's a bit of the video. It's really disturbing.
Jeez, that is disturbing.
It's just boys pummeling. And for 40 seconds, 45 seconds, no adult doing anything. These boys just pummeling this kid. Now, the reason that I bring this up is because...
Okay, dude, like, context matters, though. Like, what was happening there? Was one teacher in the bathroom? Was the bus driver driving at the time? Like, this is really fucking bad intellectual work here, and he's supposed to be this gifted academic.
As there are media headlines that came out, they were very reticent to talk about the race of the people who are involved, whereas obviously if the races were reversed, then that would be a major news story. In fact, there was one particular news story that was making the rounds on the internet in which they'd used a stock photo of a kid punching another kid, and the kid punching the other kid was white. According to the WSVN network in South Miami-Dade, Florida, disturbing videos of a school bus beating shows 2 children.
Well, that's bad if that's true. But dude, like, have you heard of like the history of news? Like, how many times have news reported that a suspicious-looking black man is a suspect in this latest crime? Like, that's way more common than people on the news saying specifically this was a white guy who committed this crime. Like, what are you talking about, dude?
Children who are brother and sister being pounded by their peers, prompting the victim's mother to take action. In the bus riding beating, the 9-year-old girl can be seen bent down in her seat as a teen stood over her and delivered a barrage of blows.
Jeez.
Another video showed her 10-year-old brother being beaten while on the same school bus. The girl suffered bruises on her head, back, and shoulders, leaving her parents fuming and full of questions about how this could have happened to their children. The victim's father said, at the same time my daughter was getting beaten, the same thing was happening to my son on the other side of the bus. The parents said, this is not the first time their daughter and son have been targeted. They said,
if the parents were there, or at least one parent was there, why didn't you try to fucking stop the fight? Where were you? If you were on the bus and you're a parent and you saw kids fighting, you should try to stop them, man.
They've been bullied at school since they started in January. The children's mother said, I've been to the school. I've spoken with counselors, principals, assistants, other principals. An assistant principal wrote us and she said, I think it's time you take your kids out of the school. Our kids aren't the problem, said the kid's father. They love to learn. It's sad that something they enjoy is becoming something that
this is also an example of terrible parenting. So, you know, you have to blame the parents somewhat too. It sounds like there's some dumb shit going on at the school perhaps, but you have to fucking blame the parents too. They're bad actors all around here. Like, multiple people are responsible for this. Don't oversimplify like you always fucking do, Ben Shapiro.
That they are fearing now. Now they've pulled the kids out of the school. Again, the only thing that should matter is the safety of kids in school. But when equity concerns begin to play a role in how we actually discipline children, we got a major problem on our hands. And that goes to broader perceptions of society.
Who the fuck said anything about equity? No one, literally no one used the word equity in any clip that he showed there, anything that he quoted.
Broader ideological rubrics have an impact on real world situations. This is just...
Okay, you're talking about the broader ideological rubric behind what all of these people were supposedly saying, even though none of them said any of that.
One example of that. Alrighty, guys, the rest of the show is continuing right now. You're not going to...
All right, so... yeah, as I and probably some of you also expected, that was really dumb, and Ben Shapiro is nowhere near as smart and logical as many people think he is, including himself, seemingly. So, yeah. He does not make good arguments for someone who's supposedly so smart. Anyway, I hope you appreciated my thorough debunking. That probably went into a little way too much detail about CRT and all that kind of stuff, but you know, like a lot of my videos have actually thoroughly gone into books by people like Foucault and Derek Bell, as I said, and even the critical theorists in the Frankfurt School too, that James Lindsay talks about too, and James Lindsay and Helen Pluckrose's book Cynical Theories. I'm doing a series on that as well, so check out all that. And yeah, check out my other videos criticizing Ben Shapiro, and also the one I made relatively recently, in which I was agreeing with Ben Shapiro about, I don't even remember what his take was, but his take about Elon Musk letting Trump back on Twitter being a good idea, I think maybe. But, and yeah, I've criticized him for the Cardi B stuff before too. And I think maybe the stuff with Lil Nas X and him supposedly being a Satanist because he made a video in which he was jerking on Satan, which was hilarious. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching this. I know I talked for way too long about that video, and I hope you enjoyed this. Share it everywhere, subscribe to the channel, click that like button, click that bell to be notified when I come out with new videos. Probably the next one I do will be another solo video next week. Not sure what I'm going to do it on, but I think probably a book or one of my book series that I'm doing. So, and I think I'm probably not going to do another podcast on my channel until next weekend, but this Sunday, I think Dusty and I are going to talk on his channel about what's it called? Oh yeah, Logan's Run, the 70s sci-fi movie, and also the book on which it's based. So check that out on Dusty's channel, Woke Centrist, and check out my last podcast with Dusty, which was on Golden Sun, book 2 in the sci-fi fantasy series Red Rising, that gets more hardcore sci-fi as it goes along, but still retains some sci-fi fantasy aspects. So check that out. We talked about book 2, Golden Sun. And yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Check out my Patreon page. The link is in the description as always. Any amount is greatly appreciated. And like I always say, I love you all. Keep being the tiny beam of light that shines through the almost impenetrable darkness in the universe. And most importantly, always remember this: the funk cures all. And groove is in the heart. And Ben Shapiro is dumb. He is not smart. He has built a big cult following that instantly believes his stupid arguments. His arguments are very easy to debunk because they're very they're a massively oversimplified version of reality, basically. Anyway, thanks again for watching, and adios until next time, everyone.